Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Aayush.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
Aayush, you are from Faridabad.
Yes, sir.
Faridabad got its name from what?
Sir, Sheikh Farid, sir.
Sheikh Farid. Who was Sheikh Farid?
Sir, he was a banker of Sheikh Maharaja Jahangir, sir.
Come again?
Sir, banker of treasurer of Maharaja Jahangir.
Maharaja Jahangir.
Yes, sir.
Did Jahangir use the prefix Maharaja before his titles?
Sultan, Badshah, sir.
Or Shahenshah?
Shahenshah. Sorry, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and you have participated in maths and Olympia.
Yes,
Math. So, there are two things, two directions. I can ask you about math and I can ask you about Olympic movement. First, maths.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it should be compulsory for at all levels, or after elementary math it should be made optional?
Sir, I think that the current system, when it is compulsory till class 10th, is adequate, because sir, amount of basic maths is needed in to pass through life, because a lot of statistics and data management is needed in daily life, sir. But after that, there should be a choice to the individual that whether he wants to pursue higher maths or not, sir.
But till 10th, they teach you calculus, they teach you trigonometry.
Sir, calculus.
Have you ever used it?
Sir, I had used it in my engineering, sir. But calculus is introduced in class 11. Till 10, they teach geometry and statistics and probability, sir, which is useful in daily life, sir.
Oh. So up to 10th, you think it should be the compulsory, and after that optional?
Yes.
All right. What is the what do you know about the Olympic movement? Maths Olympiad apart.
Sir, while I'm not completely aware of the movement, sir, Olympics were started in order to unify the countries, sir. Because countries, because sports as a soft power was used, and so sports has a unifying factor between the countries. So after the world wars, etc., sir, it was felt that Olympics can be a unifying factor between the countries.
So when was it started, this movement?
So I'm not aware, sir.
But after the World War?
Yes, sir. After, I'm not sure, sir.
That's what you said.
I think you are far wrong. Between the wars, the politics of sports was divisive. The 1936 Berlin Olympic was the acme of racial discrimination, Nazi world confronting.
Yes.
And I think sports has been more divisive than...
When we have cricket or hockey against Pakistan,
Yes,
do you think India and Pakistan feel united?
Sir, Pakistan feels united during the matches, sir, and it is one of the...
No, India and Pakistan, it was to unify the countries,
Yes,
unite the countries.
Yes, sir.
So the two countries fighting a game, do they feel united or they feel they are at war?
Sir, they feel a sense of competition, but it is a healthy competition, sir.
Healthy competition. All right.
I'm tempted to ask you questions about... Chairman asked you questions about Faridabad.
Yes.
And I'm strongly tempted to ask you about Banaras,
Yes,
aka Varanasi.
yes.
Why is it called Varanasi?
Sir, because Varanasi lies at the confluence of two rivers, Varuna and Assi river.
Excellent. Why is it called Kasi?
Kashi was name given to it by Ashok Emperor, sir.
No. Kashi is in ancient literature. It was one of the Shodash Mahajanpads, which predates Ashok.
Okay.
So,
thank you, sir.
but why is it called Kashi? What does the word Kashi mean? You have stayed there 4 years, and you have stayed on a campus which is seamed in Hindu tradition, mythology, and so on. I'll continue with this. It's called City of Light. That's what Diana Eck has done a book in English on that, on secondary geography also. You obviously must have heard the Kulgeet of the BHU several times during your stay. Who wrote that?
Sir, Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar, sir.
Excellent. Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar was a scientist of great eminence, got a knighthood, was a Director General of the CSIR, etc. So BHU has always had this science and tradition and mythology and culture mixing. Have you ever been to the Kala Bhavan there?
Yes, yes, I have been there.
Who was the person whose collection is kept there?
Sir,
the most important part of the collection of Bharat Bhavan.
Sir, Abanindranath Tagore, sir.
No, Abanindranath Tagore is the painter. There was a Banarasi gentleman who contributed toward the establishment of philanthropy in Banaras. Would you remember that?
Sorry, sir. No.
Have you ever heard of a person called Rai Krishnadas?
No, sorry, sir.
All right, don't worry about that at all. Now, I'll ask you another question, which is, you are a mechanical engineer, but you have an interest in astronomy and chess and so on. Two small questions before I pass you on to Ambassador Swaroop.
Yes.
If you are talking of astronomy, have you heard of a person called S. Chandrasekhar?
Yes, sir.
What was his contribution and what was his struggle in life before he finally was awarded the Nobel Prize? Which British astronomer, once a mentor of Chandrasekhar, was the greatest obstacle in his international recognition?
Sir, regarding his contribution, he had given the Chandrasekhar limit, which
Excellent.
tells...
No, so what the second part of the question now?
Sir, I'm not sure about...
You have never heard of a person called Eddington?
Sir, I have heard, sir.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Now the question about chess, very brief question. Do you think the development of artificial intelligence has reached a level where chess ceases to be interesting for a really passionate chess follower?
Sir, I would beg to differ because, sir, chess is a game played between humans. And, sir, humans have their flaws. So, chess and AI is being used in order to train humans and tell them and critically analyze their games, sir.
And to cheat.
Sir,
there is a major controversy about a top-notch grandmaster admitting that he has cheated because of using computerized number crunching. I will leave it at that. I will pass you on to Ambassador Swaroop.
Ayush, I'll continue with the line of questioning that Professor Pant started on astronomy.
Yes.
Can you name some famous ancient Indian astronomers?
Yes, sir. Aryabhatta, Varahamir, Brahmagupta. These are the famous ones, sir, from India.
What has been their contribution to the science of astronomy?
Sir, firstly, they proved that Earth isn't flat. Secondly, sir, they used to...
You said they. Could you be a little more specific to his answer and give individual contribution of Aryabhatta, Varahamir, Brahmagupta?
Yes, sir. Aryabhatta, sir, firstly gave the concept of zero. Secondly, sir, he gave that... he looked at several constellations and he also proved that Earth isn't flat by the shadow it poses on the moon, sir. Regarding Brahmagupta, sir, he gave several theorems that were used to calculate the positions of sun and moon and eclipses, sir. And Varahamir, sir, also contributed to these theorems only, sir.
Okay. Why is astronomy important in the modern world?
Sir, nowadays space sector has diversified a lot and it is seen as a strategic sector as well as it is used in day-to-day lives as well. For example, in agricultural insurance sector, also for mapping of the countries, etc., sir, as well as for security purposes. So this way, space has now become a public good, sir. As this is the start.
Space has become a public good. That's rather a sweeping generalization, isn't it?
So this is the stance of the government as well, that space sector should be seen as a...
No, that is what our government's stance is.
Yes.
But does it mean that our government's stance immediately is generally accepted as a public good now?
Sir, we are working towards making it a public good, sir.
Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit now. What do you understand by net zero?
So net zero means that the amount of carbon that we emit, that much we either store it or we stop emitting it altogether, sir. So that way our emissions become net zero.
What is the time period that the European Union has chosen to be net zero?
So European Union has chosen to be 2050, China has chosen 2060 and India has chosen 2070, sir.
Do you think after the Russia-Ukraine war, Europe will be able to reach, in fact it's 2040 if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sorry, sir, I'll relocate, sir. Sir,
what will be the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war on climate change targets?
Sir, the year 2022 was very bad for climate change, sir, because we are seeing increasing energy nationalism now. And sir, energy crisis is brimming in Europe, sir, because they were heavily dependent on the Russian oil. So after that, and moreover, sir, the coal power plants as well as the LNG plants have again started in Europe, sir. So we have seen that the West does not shy away from going back to fossil fuels whenever its energy security needs are not fulfilled, sir. So we have to ensure that even if energy needs are, like, we have to quickly transition to renewable energy, sir, in order to prevent such maneuvers, sir.
Which is the international body that India has started with Sweden to help industry transition towards net zero?
So there is a lead IT, I'm not sure of the full form, sir. Industrial transition lead IT, sir.
Which has basically private companies,
yes,
from all over the world. which need the transition, because some industries are more carbon intensive than others,
Yes.
as you know. Final questions. G20 is going to be held in India this year.
Yes.
How many meetings are we organizing?
So I'm not sure of the exact number, but 200 plus are being organized, sir.
Why does India's presidency of the G20 matter?
Sir, because nowadays we are seeing increasing polarization in the world, and with the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, sir, we are seeing that the developing countries aren't getting their say in the matter, sir. So it is very important that India acts as a voice of the global south in this meeting, sir. And
But
also,
if developing countries are not getting their say, then how will India get its say?
sir, because India, the G20 president gets to decide the agenda of the meeting, sir. So that way we can act as a voice of the global south in the G20 meeting, sir. And we have chosen very ambitious targets such as sustainable development and digitalization of the economy and circular economy, disaster risk reduction. So these are important for and climate finance, sir. So these are important for the developing countries as well.
But can India really push the envelope on climate finance given the resistance of the developed world?
So we can work towards building a consensus in the G20. It will be very difficult in order to build a consensus, but bringing all the parties on the table and starting a dialogue will be important, sir.
Okay, I'll pass you on to Professor Patil.
Okay, Mr. Aayush, it's
Yes.
rather disconcerting to hear an alumnus of BHU pronounce Aryabhatta as Aryabhatta. But anyway,
Sorry,
that will
sir.
do. You opted for anthropology.
Yes.
Did you know that our constitution does not define the word tribe anywhere?
Yes.
But if we were to conduct a class that relating to the constitutional provisions for the tribals, then it may take entire day because there are so many things. When did we try to reach a kind of consensus that what does a tribe mean?
Sir, earlier before the colonial times,
Post-independence, I'm talking about.
Post-independence, sir, a Lokur committee was set up, which gave
In which year?
So 1965, if I'm not wrong, sir.
You are right.
Yes, sir. So it gave 5 criterions that what constitutes a tribe.
Mhm.
So that is being used till now, but it is being said that these criterions were a little bit regressive, sir, because they use criteria such as primitive traits or social
Yes.
backwardness. So nowadays, the Registrar General is re-looking into the fact that what constitutes a tribe in the new sense, sir, because there are increasing migrations and newer cultures that are developing with the globalization. So this definition is being re-looked into, sir.
In many situations, you will notice that the so-called tribal population has merged or integrated, or like the melting pot, they have mixed. That it's difficult to distinguish. So at this time, do you think that some constitutional provisions and some of the schemes of the government is trying to keep the tribal identity intact, is in good spirit?
Yes, sir.
Or rather, it should not be left to the personal matter or personal affairs for the like any other cultural identity in our country. The tribal, they themselves can continue with whatever they want, but then government's trying to perpetuate it.
So the government stance is that tribal should be integrated into the country as per the tribal Panchsheel policy. So that way, sir, tribal culture is being promoted a lot.
You went back to Panchsheel.
Yes, sir.
But 1965, the Lokur committee, you said that it's rather outdated. But you're much back in history when talking of Panchsheel committee with Jawaharlal Nehru.
Sir, in my opinion,
gave-
Panchsheel is still very relevant, sir.
Okay, I won't challenge that. Okay.
Yes, sir. And sir, the fact that tribal should be left and their definition should be left to them. To that fact, sir, I believe that
No, not definition, cultural practices.
sir, the need is to integrate them into the culture of entire India, sir. And
Again, it's
That's
a bit
an
controversial.
extremely fraught answer. What is the culture of India and
Exactly.
what is integration? Are you going to homogenize all the diverse elements of Indian population into a definition of Indian culture? There is a book by Ram Guha, I'm sure you are aware of that, Savaging the Noble,
yes, sir.
which is the biography of Maria Relvin.
Sir, no, I meant that their culture should be respected, and we can make it popular more so that everybody is aware of their culture, and an emic view is needed that we appreciate their culture more. So that they develop a sense of pride in their culture, sir. And moreover, their socio-economic indicators also must be improved so that they themselves can use globalization in a better way in order to benefit from their cultural attributes, sir.
Would there be a time when we don't have to use this quote unquote they?
And your tone generally carries across a element of condescension. We will make them appreciate their culture. We'll make them take self-respect in that.
Yes.
That's rather odd.
I'm sorry, sir. I think that
No,
that's
it's okay.
the problem. You don't
I'm
have to
just
be
asking
sorry.
a question.
The only problem is for a student of anthropology, even if you have done a crash course for civil services, certain terms should be used with exactitude.
yes. Yes.
So that puts you in a very itsy-bitsy teeny-weeny quandary. They. Question is very simple. Would possibly be a time when the quote-unquote they would not be needed to be used?
Yes, sir. We think I think that tribals are a very beautiful community, sir, and
Again. They are the colorful children of India variety and Adivasi dances in the 26th January till some time back. Those are very value-loaded statements. Do you mean the rest of us are not colorful?
we are. So
Okay.
there will come a time that tribals are major part of India, and they feel. And
No. See, look, I'm sorry.
It's okay, sir.
I'm tempted to interrupt you and trespass
Sir.
into his territory.
Yes.
This is a global debate because you also made your neck on the chopper by saying globalization.
Yes.
Maoris, aborigines and indigenous people elsewhere
Yes, sir.
have early inhabitants, the first nation in Canada. You have this debate going on everywhere. So there will come a time. It's a very odd statement.
Many countries have committed terrible mistakes. Australia, Canada, New Zealand,
Yes.
America. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
See, you are a very bright candidate. And Aayush, the problem is the expectations from you in the board will be more. You are a first time person taking an exam and qualifying for this. You have a first rate degree from a first rate institution.
Yes.
You are very articulate. I think where you are going wrong is that you are generalizing in anthropology subject
Yes.
very sweepingly.
Yes.
And your knowledge base, or when is your interview? Let's say that.
31st January.
Oh, you don't have too great time, but you are a bright kid. It should not be too much. You will stay in Faridabad and Delhi and you have access to material.
Yes, sir.
So I would request the chairperson to guide you.
Okay, sir.
Something will be in your favor that the first time a young candidate has come up.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that you will be given any bonus for that.
Yes.
Your first impression raises expectations. And then your answers are, to my mind, very, very simplistic and generalized. What did you read for anthropology?
Sir, I read, other than the course material,
Tell me, what did you read, period? Did you get notes from a coaching institute?
no, sir, I read the books that are recommended.
Which were the books which you read?
Sir, for physical anthropology, P. Nath, I read, and for
All
social
right.
anthropology, and for tribal anthropology, Nadeem Hasnain's books.
Yes, this is a pretty good book.
Sir, and for social anthropology, I read N.K. Vaid sir's book.
I'm surprised that you have read all these standard texts.
Yes.
You are still making large slips by generalizing. What he said, the fundamental flaw in an anthropology student is to talk in terms of we and they.
Yes, sir.
That's number one. And the second is condescension. But I'll leave it at that. I'll request the chairperson.
Aayush, you are a very bright candidate
Fantastic.
and
Very, very good.
very fluent. You were answering questions with confidence. You had a smile on your face all through. That was good. You have to shave, of course.
Yes.
And don't put your hands like this. If you put your hands together, that's more informal. That's better. And I'm not sure your jacket
Yes, sir.
seems to be more like a disco man. So that's not formal. Do you have a formal jacket
Yes,
also?
sir. Yes, sir. Actually, sir, I'm suffering from typhoid right now, so that is why I'm.
Yeah, but do you have another suit?
Yes, sir, I have.
Yes. So because this is too fancy a suit, this will not go.
Okay.
Right. So also I'm not very sure whether, although 31st of January may not be so cold, so which is a good thing,
Yes.
that your sweater inside the jacket is taking away your smartness.
Okay. Sir.
Maybe a thermal inside to take care that you are not feeling cold.
Okay.
Is it in the morning or afternoon?
Afternoon session.
Afternoon. Yeah. So yeah, that is about your appearance.
Okay.
The two things which we advise everybody, it's not specific to you. most questions are asked from your dad.
Yes, sir.
Right. Today also we started from Faridabad and your maths, Olympiad, chess, astronomy, anthropology. Everything you have written here.
Yes, sir.
Right. We didn't ask you on chemistry. We didn't ask you on physics. So you have to master your dad.
Yes, sir.
Anticipate as many questions as you can. So it will be a very interesting intellectual exercise. Maybe 100 questions.
Okay.
And the more you identify, the better. If you can do it 120, even better.
Yes.
That will prepare you. Secondly, your knowledge of news and current affairs has to be up to date.
Yes.
You must read the newspaper of that day morning also. Which newspaper do you read?
So the Hindu, Indian Express and Times of India.
Okay. Do you take notes
Yes, sir.
every day?
Yes, sir.
Every day?
Yes, sir.
Did you write yesterday?
Yes, sir.
What did you write?
So regarding one was regarding the basic structure doctrine, one was Joshimath crisis, Halwani affections, and the US Trade Forum, India-US Trade Forum meet that has taken place.
Okay. Now, that's good. If you're doing that, it is only on the 31st. At least 7 items every day. You say you're writing for that. Maybe you need to speak a little slower. If you watch your CD, you speak a bit too fast.
Okay, sir.
So your communication will improve if you are a bit slower, without becoming self-conscious. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
Sir, regarding anthropology, sir, how do I make my language more inclusive, sir?
No, you don't have to take too many efforts. You just have to be on guard that you don't, as he said, if you are not in a hurry to give a response, a knee-jerk reaction immediately and speak very fast, it will automatically get cured. Now that you have been warned,
Yes, sir.
do not, I strongly recommend that if you don't have time, read the foreword of Ram Guha's book, or at least a review. You started with 65 in the policy, but Nehru had a tribal policy towards the Northeast, which was guided and dictated by a warrior Alvin, who married a tribal in Madhya Pradesh, stayed in Jabalpur long, and he's had an influence on policy making about tribals in India.
Yes.
There also is the issue of conversions of Baptist Scottish Mission and somewhere there,
Yes.
both even the center. So please be aware of the issues. The tribals have been alienated by conversion, maybe not. Tribals again are divided amongst themselves. The Nagas themselves are so many.
Yes.
So you better read a good guidebook. If SP Vidyarthi or some you can lay your hand on, or Tribes of India from the National Book Trust.
Yes, sir.
Latest book which has a tone of political correctness.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
No, you don't have to worry too much about that.
How have you done your mains?
Sir, I've done good, sir.
Then I expect you in the top 10.
Thank you, sir.
You should be very, very good. No flaws at all.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Good luck.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.